Well, it's time this week when I'm joined by Blevins rank's Brett Hanson. How are you doing, Brett?
Yes, I'm good, thanks, Howard. What about yourself? How are things?
I'm very well, thank you very much. You've got a busy subject to get through, very interesting too as well. So let's get on with it. Well, Brett today is going to tell us about some new global research about the benefits of financial planning. The survey shows that having improved financial well-being positively impacts on your mental and physical health and family life, and also plays a key role in helping to alleviate stress and provide peace of mind. It sounds like nirvana. So, before we get into the details, was this research carried out by a reputable financial authority?
Well, Howard, you're right to ask this because I think when it comes to research, it's always vital to look at the source and ensure that it has come from a reputable authority. And in this case, the research in question was undertaken by the Financial Planning Standards Board, which is the standard setting body for the Certified Financial Planning Certification in the United States. I think it's always important to look at the size of the survey too and who took part. And with this survey, there were over 15,000 participants across 15 global regions, including the UK, aged 25 and over. The survey, which was carried out earlier this year but published on the 4th of October to mark this year's World Financial Planning Day. Now, Howard, I'm sure most listeners were not even aware that there was a World Financial Planning Day, let alone when it is. But the purpose of this day is to raise awareness of the value of financial planning and working with a financial planner who has committed to rigorous standards of competence, ethics, and practice.
So, Brett, according to the survey, what added value do people who take professional financial advice receive?
Well, the research emphasised a few salient points, namely that globally, clients of a professional financial planner have greater financial confidence in their advisor than those who are advised by someone who lacks the right qualifications and standard of competence, and that these clients are likely to feel financially more secure, have greater life satisfaction than unadvised consumers, to the extent that they feel like they can cope with their health issues better than those individuals who do not have financial planning in place. The research showed that the key benefits for clients who have a professional financial planner were improved financial well-being, greater financial decision-making confidence, and better help in understanding financial matters. But most of all, they primarily received and had peace of mind. In fact, almost 1 in 2 financial planning clients said their family life and their mental health benefited from having a financial planner.
So, and when someone moves to Spain, what would you say are the most important financial planning issues they need to be aware of? And when revising their financial planning for Spain, should people work through these elements one by one, or does it make sense to do them all at once?
Well, Howard, for anyone moving to Spain, bearing in mind that when it comes to British expatriates, these tend to be retirees or those kind of heading towards retirement, I would say that the most important financial considerations are how will their assets and income be taxed in Spain and what can be done to minimise this, obtaining sound advice on their investments and pensions in order to achieve the investment returns and income they require with the minimum of risk, and how should they set things up in order to ensure that when they pass away, their loved ones have the minimum of complications and the minimum of death duties in both Spain and the UK. So just touching on each of these, Howard, it's important to bear in mind that for anyone living in Spain, regardless of where their assets are or where the income is generated, in most cases they are likely to be taxable in Spain. And the tax rules here are very different to, say, the tax rules in the UK. So someone moving to Spain will need to consider very carefully what are the tax rules here with regards to their assets and income, and how best they can minimise the tax on these. But of course, in making changes to their existing investments and, say, pensions, possibly before they move to Spain, could potentially lead to tax implications in the UK. And so the timing of when to make these changes is very important, paying close attention to both the UK and Spanish taxation rules. At the same time, Howard, it's also important to make sure that your assets are invested in line with your attitude to risk and your objectives in order to give you the best chance of achieving your financial needs over the longer term, whilst also having the peace of mind I referred to earlier, bearing in mind that for many British expatriates moving to Spain, they are looking at retirements in excess of 20 and 30 years. And of course, when you do pass away and you leave your assets to your loved ones, whether that's a partner or children, then you need to be aware that in Spain, certainly at the Spanish state level, Spanish succession taxes and Spanish succession rules can apply to these assets. And so it's very important that you have the right estate planning in order. Spain is made up of 17 regions, each with their own Spanish succession tax rules. But at the state level, there's a few important considerations to bear in mind, Howard, because when it comes to Spanish succession tax, it is at the state level payable between husband and wives. And whilst there are allowances, these tend to be lower than the UK inheritance tax allowances that we're used to in the UK. In fact, in Spain, Spanish succession tax rates can reach as high as 82%. And so from my experience, Howard, most people who are moving to Spain or are already living here are looking for, or should be looking for, a comprehensive financial plan which takes into account all of their needs and deals with all of the issues at the same time, rather than dealing with them each separately over a period of time, which could lead to contradictions or problems further down the line.
Should the starting point be to find a financial advisor who can help you with all of this? And what are the various issues that people need to consider when choosing an advisor?
Yes, Howard, I would say that in the same way that when it comes to a health issue, it's very important to find the right doctor or specialist to help monitor and resolve the issue. So this also applies to our finances when it comes to finding a competent and qualified advisor. And so the advisor or the firm of advisors you should choose should have all the skills and technical support to be able to provide the solutions to all of these taxation, investment, pensions, and estate planning needs. I think it therefore makes sense to choose a firm who has been around for many years and have over time invested in their business so that they have the strength and depth of resources and the experience needed to be able to fully advise British expatriates moving to or already living in Spain on these key issues. They should have tax experts who specialise in taxation for both the UK and Spain and can advise on any cross-border issues when clients are thinking of or in the process of moving from the UK to Spain, and of course vice versa. I would suggest that any listeners looking for a financial advisor should use a firm who has advisors who are close to them in Spain and who are in a position to understand what it's like to live here and cope with the local bureaucracy and have a deep understanding of the financial planning needs of expatriates here, whilst understanding the Spanish tax regime at both the state and local regional level. And whether you're moving to Spain or already living here, in both situations, it's obviously very important that any plan is specifically designed around your particular circumstances and objectives, and that this is then being reviewed on a regular basis in order to ensure that this is kept up to date, as circumstances do change, as do the threats to our wealth. So in order to have these regular reviews, you should probably choose a firm which is in the best position to be around for the long term and have the resources to be able to provide you with these reviews. For example, if you're dealing with a successful firm of advisors, then logically there will be a team of advisors in each local office, ensuring that all of their clients are having these regular reviews and looking after those clients' needs. And so the size of the firm, even at the local level, is important. And clearly, if that firm is doing very well, then there will be a number of people in that office that would have been around for some time. And then, of course, there's qualification. And as the survey made clear, your advisors should have suitable, high-level professional qualifications, which follow what is referred to as continuing personal development practices to ensure that their advice is always up to date. For example, if you were living in the UK, most advisors have the Diploma in Regulated Financial Planning, or an equivalent to this Level 4 standard qualification, or otherwise known as the Diploma in Regulated Financial Planning. And these are requirements that the Financial Conduct Authority in the UK require. So if your advisor here in Spain started out in the UK, then ensure that whilst they were advising there, that they got this qualification, which is of a higher standard than the qualifications that advisors do need to meet in Spain.
So, Brett, how do you bring all these various elements together for your clients?
Well, Howard, we have been advising British expatriates living in Spain for over 40 years and currently have 25 local offices across the 7 countries we advise in, which include the UK and Spain. And we bring the various elements together for our clients by sitting down with them, understanding what their aims and objectives are, looking at their assets and liabilities, and then using the strength and depth of our technical resources at our disposal to put together a cohesive financial plan, which we can then have the means to put into action. We're also committed to providing all of our UK and EU-based clients with an ongoing high-quality local service, which means that across the company in the various regions we operate in, we have partners, private client managers, paraplanners, and administration support all working together in those local offices, working closely with our clients. For example, in our Javier office where I am based, in addition to myself, we have 2 private client managers who are qualified and regulated to provide advice to our clients. We have 2 paraplanners who help prepare our written recommendations, taking the experience and knowledge from our pension planners and from our local advisors. And then we have 3 further employees in the office who provide administration support for our clients. And it is vitally important that our partners and private client managers are highly experienced and fully qualified, as I've already referred to. And as a result of this, all of our advisors have the Diploma in Regulated Financial Planning or the equivalent Level 4 Diploma in Regulated Financial Planning I referred to previously. Of course, keeping on top of the changing regulatory environment isn't easy, particularly in the various countries that we work in. And so in addition to increasing the number of partners and private client managers and administration support we also need access to good lawyers and have an ever-growing compliance department who have their fingers on the pulses in each of the jurisdictions we work in and keep us up to date with the many regulatory changes which take place across Europe. And at the same time, this also applies to changes in tax laws, where we have our cross-border tax specialists in the UK who specialise in each of the regions that we work in. But we've also, over the years, developed very good relationships with local lawyers and accountants and other specialists in each of the local offices that we work with across Europe.
We've been talking about people who are new to Spain, but what about those who've been living here for years, like my good self? Do you find their financial planning needs changing over time? And are there any particular issues that our older listeners should consider at this point in their lives?
Well, Howard, for anyone who has been living here for many years, including yourself, and actually I've been here now 20 years, whilst they may not need the advice about the steps which need to be taken before moving to Spain. From my experience, most are still looking for a comprehensive financial plan which takes into account their tax planning and estate planning needs with regards to their property, savings, investments and pensions over both the short and longer term. They're also quite often more concerned about making sure that their estate planning is in order to ensure that on their death, their loved ones benefit from their hard-earned wealth with the minimum of complication and taxes, particularly with regards to both Spanish and UK inheritance tax. And that these financial plans are continually being reviewed to ensure that they're still in order. And so I certainly think that people who are living here in Spain and have been here many years should come and talk to us to ensure that all their affairs are in order.
And what happens when someone's time in Spain comes to an end? Do British expatriates need to review and adjust their financial planning if they return to the UK?
This is a good question, Howard, and one that I've actually been asked a lot recently. Clearly, moving country is a big step, and so there is always the concern about what if on moving here they don't settle or enjoy it, or perhaps they miss their family, or what if after living here for many years they decide, perhaps due to deteriorating health or family back in the UK, that they go back to live in the UK. So what happens about the solutions that have been set up here? And the answer is that to ensure that you deal with an advisor or firm of advisors who can not only advise you when you are here, but also are able to advise you on an ongoing basis if you were to go back to live in the UK. Can the firm deal with the cross-border issues associated with the transition from Spain back to the UK? And again, one of the advantages of Blevins Franks is that not only are we able to provide advice locally in Spain and deal with the cross-border issues with the UK, but we can deal with clients who go back and live in the UK. And we have partners and private client managers based throughout the UK that are able to provide that service.
Well, the website is a hub of information, and if anybody needs to find out a little bit more about Blevins Franks, they can look there and browse it.
Yes, absolutely, Howard. And if anyone would like to come and talk to us and look at their financial situation and are looking for a qualified, experienced advisor who can work with them and come up with a plan and can look after them over the longer term so that they can have that peace of mind, then they can certainly go to our website and find out which is the local office closest to them to then make an appointment to see one of the partners.
And that is, of course, blevinsfranks.com. Many thanks, Brett. We'll talk in a few weeks, I think.
Thank you, Howard. Take care now.